Gentlemen, how many times do you wake up in the mornings and you feel some kind of stiffness in your low back or some pain in your genitals? If you're trying to find the best routine, let's go over a 10-minute home morning routine that you can use today, the same things that I tell my men in the clinic with pelvic pain to do. All right, so naturally you're feeling a little stiff in the mornings, so before we even get on the floor and stretch, first we gotta mobilize our low back. All right, so first exercise, hand on the wall, feet together, hand on the pelvis here, and I need you to push into the pelvis, into the wall. And what this feels like to me is a gentle side glide of the lumbar spine, feeling a little bit of a stretch into the vertebrae as we move. All right, switching sides, feet together, push hand into the pelvis. First few reps might feel a little bit stiff, but what you might feel is that the more you do this, the further this joint wants to open up. Okay, and for the second exercise, for warm up, I want you to try to move into low back extension. So leaning backwards, thrusting my hips forwards, and coming back to center. I don't need you to hold, I just need you to do this for 10 repetitions. And what it might feel similar to that side glide position is that the first few reps were kind of unpleasant, and see if this starts to feel easier with some movement. At any point, if this is feeling worse, then I want you to stop, but it should just feel like it's opening up your low back. All right, so now that you've loosened up your low back, the first exercise is a warrior's pose. So let's get into our split stance position. Rear foot facing away from you, front foot facing towards. And what I need you to do is bend, arms go straight, front palm is up, and I want you to bend your torso backwards over your pelvis, feeling a really good stretch through the front of the abdomen, the hip, and the side. Try to coordinate your breathing. Inhale in, exhale out. Paying attention to the stretch that you're experiencing through the side. Okay, and the other side here, front foot again facing forwards, rear foot in the split stance. Turn the palm upwards, bending backwards, feeling a really good stretch through the obliques and the side. Right about here. Good, and nicely done. Next stretch, we're gonna move down into a hip hinge forward fold. First, just start with hinging at your hips, keeping your low back flat, and just getting a sense of that pull down the backs of your legs a little bit through the back. And I want you to warm this one up first. Hinging at the hips, not rounding your low back. Hinging at the hips. Now we want to start to do a roll down, having our head, chin, chest tucking, feeling a bit of pressure through the low back and the hamstrings, and we're coming up. Doing a roll down and back up. And if at any point this feels like it's causing pain in the low back, then what I'd encourage you to do is just hip hinge. And so if it feels good during that roll down, let's progress it. I'm gonna get you to cradle your elbows, keeping your spine flexed. And now I want you to rotate left and right. What this feels like as I rotate my body to the right, I feel a good stretch on this left side. When I rotate left, I feel a good stretch on my right.
Good, and we come back up.
All right, so next we want to work on a pigeon pose, and this is where we're going to need to get on the floor after we've really loosened up our body and our low back. So for this exercise, we need to get into this figure 4, and what I want you to think about is this butt muscle on your front side stretching and lengthening. Good, and what you can play around with is rotating your body a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, feeling some good tension through your glute muscles. Okay, nice, and let's switch sides here. Pigeon pose, left hip goes forwards, rotating, rotating. And if it feels good to just hold and stretch, you can definitely do that. If you have the flexibility for it, you can go onto your elbows. The goal is to increase pressure and tension on that left glute muscle. Good, and from here we can move into a downwards dog position. So here, think about pressing your hips back into the air. And what I feel, I'm trying to push my hands away from my body, feeling a bit of this traction and lengthening in my upper neck and shoulders. And we can even pump the ankles up and down. A little bit of a stretch in the calves. Good, and then moving into that extension. And try to keep note if this extension position as we're doing downward dogs feels easier than if we were to just do it in standing when we first started. If you feel like your back is loosening up as you're doing this, that's a very good sign. All right, so first exercise is going to be our hip extensions. We've got a little bit of equipment here. This is a 10-pound dumbbell and a glute bridge band. If you don't have any of that, don't worry about it. We can just do body weight. But first, get into this bridge position, squeezing the glutes at the top, feeling like your low back is fully extending. And I want you to try to feel your butt muscles recruiting more than your hamstring muscles. So think about squeezing together and down. And again, if you have a dumbbell or something around, you can just do this, squeezing muscles at the hips, doing this as many times until you're feeling pretty tired. Same idea with the band. We just get our glutes to activate and recruit a little bit more as we hold tension between our knees, squeezing, coming up. And as an option, if you don't have any equipment with you, that's totally fine. We can move into our bridges into single legs. We want to feel our glutes, not so much our hamstrings as much, but let the butt muscles do the work. And if this feels a little too challenging, you can just go up and do your marches. Stay in that fully extended position. I don't want you to feel like you're just gripping through your back and your hamstrings, but feeling your butt muscles engaging. Do as many as you can here until you get tired. Okay, and so the last exercise here, it's gonna be abdominal dead bug. So let's use the same 10-pound plate, getting into this stance here in this 90-90, and I want you to come back into extension with your arms and your hip, feeling like this movement is coming from your core. And if you don't have that, that's okay. You can always focus on doing body weight dead bugs,
bringing your core muscles inwards, extending. And if you want a bit of a challenge, you can just lift your head and your neck and your chest up a little bit to load your abdominals. And then we come into extensions. If that feels pretty easy, we can go 2 at a time, but really progress at your own capacity.
All right, nicely done, gentlemen. So remember, pelvic pain is highly multifactorial, and not everybody's pain experience is gonna be the same. Some exercises are gonna work well for you, and others it's not gonna work so well. So the goal is to find the right stuff that works for you, and we wanna stay consistent with this every single morning. And if you like my content, please feel free to leave me a comment sharing your story, as I try to respond to every single one of the people who comment into my videos. Thanks for watching.